What's going on, y'all? It's Brian. So I wanted to do a quick video, and normally I try to avoid a lot of the pop culture topics, but this one's been pretty fascinating to me. It involves a YouTuber, Derrick Jaxn, and I've been vaguely aware of this dude's existence for a couple of years. I know there was a whole, it was more or less posted as jokes. You know, he was really locked into he was trying to build his status as a relationship guru or more or less, and so he had really tapped into a market of single women or women in relationships that were having difficulties, and it was more or less him giving the male perspective or spilling the tea or whatever, however you want to phrase it, and more or less it was him getting out there and saying, watch for your man, watch if your man's doing this and he's screwing around on you and all this other stuff. And it was really kind of an interesting thing. Now, I didn't pay much attention to it because I'm not the target audience. Um, he ain't talking about me or anything I do. So I really didn't have any investment in it, more or less to kind of sneer at it and kind of mock it. But it's really been interesting over the last couple of days because dude got busted, messing around on his wife. And the certain group of as my boy Dale calls them, the manosphere. A lot of those guys that are invested in that kind of stuff and the alpha male groups and all the other stuff, they're diving all over this. And Black Twitter is having a field day with this, with the memes and everything. And it's really kind of he's really getting his time in the spotlight. Now, it's interesting because this has been a grift that dude's been running for a minute, just kind of looking at his background and anything. He's not really qualified outside of being articulate and the camera's friendly to him. There's no real qualifications to really give anybody any advice that should be considered actionable. But it's amazing that dude has basically positioned himself as an expert in the field. And now, with all the controversy swirling, he's taking the time. And the thing that's going viral right now is the meeting with him and his wife, and they go live. And to be honest with you, I watched about 5 minutes of it, and my BS detector started flagging too hard, and so I just had to turn it off. But seeing the subsequent videos where he's reacting to his own video of him and his wife, and it's all in third person. It is one of the most bizarre, surreal, and deranged things I've ever seen. But it's must-see TV. And if I had more time, I would invest a heck of a lot more time in it, just because it's kind of an entertaining sideshow. But what I'm seeing is the thing that he's done is he knows his audience. And I'm not just talking about the women in his audience. He knows his audience. He knows that there is a whole group of dudes that sit around and they hate watch him. They grudge watch his content. And it infuriates them, or they share it on social media and talk about how much they hate him. But he knows that's part of his audience. That's a segment of his audience. And so it's really interesting to see how he caters to both audiences. And he's almost setting himself up. It's almost this weird redemption tour where he may even redeem himself to the people that hate him because of how he's handling this. It's just really this fascinating thing because dude looks like he's trying to push a book now, talking about what his experience is in his marriage and all this other stuff. I could see it pivoting into, because his views have picked up. He's added a bunch of viewers on his social media platforms since all this broke out. And he has a good connection with his audience where he knows that if he screws up, they'll forgive him as long as he uses the right verbiage. And he also knows that there are people that will never, ever, ever align with him, but they'll never stop watching him. Which is, it feels negative, but it's really not in his world, where it's going to, he's probably thinking talk show circuit, speaking circuit, and all this other stuff. I don't think it goes that far, but you never know in this pop culture obsessed world. The reality of it is, he has built his own platform. And when you build your own platform, you can pretty much do whatever you want on that platform, as long as it complies with the rules of whatever service you're using. So, you can, I've seen YouTubers that go out and they have their own video podcast, and they post the most horrifically racist, sexist, misogynist, just the worst of the worst kind of content, but they have a loyal audience. And since they're not technically breaking the rules of the platform, they're allowed to continue to exist. And so when I'm watching him, the joke for me is like he's the new toxic king. He's the new he could position himself as the guy who screwed up and he's trying to make amends, or the guy that screwed up and now all the, the masks are off and he can do whatever he wants to. It's kind of the I know a couple years ago when Louis C.K. got himself in trouble with his various being vulgar in front of female comics and doing all kinds of really just horrific, disgusting stuff to his coworkers. He went on this weird redemption tour where he just said, screw it, the gloves are off, I'm gonna say whatever I want to, and I'm gonna lean into this and find a new audience. And that's what he did. He found a new audience of people that are that really are invested in the anti-cancel culture thing, and they like the politically incorrect stuff, and that's what they've latched on to with this message. And so it's interesting to watch what this dude does, because like I said, he built his platform, and he didn't build it with people that love him. He built it on people that can't stand him. But they can't stand him, but they're addicted to his content because they're hanging on his every word. They have to see what he does next. Like I said, I've seen more dudes who don't like him share his content than women. It's such an odd thing. I've seen dudes that swear up and down that they hate this man. They cannot stand him. The sound of his voice irritates them. They hate everything he stands for. But invariably, when I see one of his videos shared, it's shared by a dude. It's shared by a guy. We might see the headshots and the quotes being posted on social media. Somebody decides to use their social media status because it's inspiring or whatnot. But the reality of it is, every time I've seen his videos, it's always some dude posting it to make fun of it. He understands that audience exists, and he actually caters to that audience. There's a lesson in there somewhere. It's a magnificent grift that he has running. And the reality is, this can be really easily flipped into the speaking circuit. That's a very lucrative market. A lot of people that, especially for social media personalities, getting on the speaking circuit, being paid to come out and speak on different issues is a huge, huge thing. And that's what a lot of people who operate in these kind of spaces on social media, like on YouTube, especially in the advice world, they do that. He can really rebrand himself as, yeah, I had it all and I screwed it up, and so now here's my redemption tour. Or I had it all, I screwed it up, and then they decided to cancel me, and so now I'm going to go out and speak out against them canceling me. It is amazing. And if you haven't seen the video of him reacting to the video of him and his wife reacting to the cheating revelations, if you want to see, and I was on my way before I went off and did my own thing. I was on my way to seek, going out and doing all the stuff to be to get where I can diagnose people. But if you want to see, what I believe in, somebody who looks like every narcissist that I've ever worked with operate in his element, go watch the video of him responding to his own video in the third person. It is a masterclass. It's amazing to watch. And you're hearing him kind of, even in that video that he knows people are going to scrutinize and make fun of, even then he's kind of subtly positioning himself, subtly trying to shift the narrative and show, oh yeah, I do take it. I see somebody who's taking accountability, and yeah, he really did. So he's acknowledging the fact that he's hurt his wife, but it's not a I hurt her thing. It's he hurt her. Like, this other person who is not him is actually the culprit in all of this. And it still absolves him of a lot of responsibility. It's really an amazing piece of content to watch. And my heart goes out for her. But at the same time, I've seen some of the other some of the other stuff that she's posted on her social media. And I'm at a point where I look at it as like they kind of deserve each other. Now, with that being said, the lesson to pull from this is when you create your own platform, you have your own audience that you speak to, that you engage, that hang on your every single word, that look for your next piece of content to roll out. If you really know your audience, you can screw up. And as long as you have a plan in place to either pivot to a new audience or lean into it and take accountability, that audience is going to follow you. They're not following you for the content. They've established kind of a relationship with you. And in your interpersonal life, people will disappoint you and let you down. That doesn't mean you stop caring about them. That doesn't mean you stop engaging with them. You go back to those relationships and try to mend fences. And if things don't work, or if that person is completely unwilling to change, then you make a decision whether you're going to stay and suffer or you're going to move on with your life. And that's the kind of relationship that he seems to have built with his audience. Now, he also knows that there's a huge audience of people who hate him. And so he leans into that too by doubling down on some of his messaging and being more resolute in some of the stances that people push back against, because he knows that audience that hates him is just as important as the audience that loves him, because the audience that hates him spreads his stuff more than the people who like him. It's such an odd thing. And like I said, I normally don't dive into this kind of pop culture kind of stuff, but it's just an amazing thing to watch. And, if people want to know how people make money with a YouTube channel outside of AdSense and things like that, there's a lot of different ways to monetize YouTube. And I haven't even gone on dude's YouTube because I don't really want to give him the traffic. But, I would imagine that, he's going to be writing his memoirs and he's going to be posting about that. And you're going to have opportunity to buy his book and then buy his ebook. And then maybe that spins out into courses for men who have cheated on their wives and are looking to be better men, where it's a subscription service where, for X amount, Derrick Jaxn will come on and teach you how to make amends and how to take ownership of your behaviors, and all this other stuff. And the money will allow him to go continue cheating on his wife. And that's from social worker, the old social worker world. I've seen this so many times play out that I have a feeling where the trajectory of this thing is going to go. I don't know dude personally. I don't know his wife personally. But that's what this feels like. It feels super familiar. But anyway, he can create an entire platform selling videos and content and other stuff that allows him to monetize his screw up. And that's where it goes from here, y'all. And selling, getting on a television show, one of these expert shows, becoming one of the panelists and all this other stuff. He gets to cast himself as the guy who messed up, who had it all and messed up. And there's movie deals and there's a whole lot of other directions this can go. It's pretty sad for the human beings involved in this and the people that are actually involved in this. But at the same time, this is what the power of having your own platform is. And a lot of people will intermix their interpersonal lives with their content. And you have these kind of really, human tragedies unfolding in front of them. But at the same time, when they screw up publicly, they're able to lean into it. There's a number of famous YouTubers and streamers who have gotten involved in domestic violence, who drugs, been arrested for any number of things, and they were able to leverage their platform and say, this is my apology video. And then the apology video does all kinds of numbers and they put ads in the apology video. And so now they are getting paid to apologize. And most of these apology videos are insincere. They're focused on the individual as opposed to the individual they did harm to. But it's lucrative. It's a lucrative hustle. Now, to use those powers for good, if you're going to use those powers for good, I would say really start figuring out what your voice is and start building your platform. Start figuring out who your audience is and who tunes in and who connects with your stuff and who responds to your stuff, because that's the thing that, that's the thing that's durable. You know, a YouTube channel can disappear overnight, but if you have a email list, people following you on Instagram, Facebook, you have all these other channels to reach your audience again and re-engage them. Even though your YouTube channel disappeared, you have all these other avenues to reach them, and so you can still reach your audience. From a business standpoint, having your own platform allows you to create content that really gives a personality to your business. So people aren't just buying a product from you, they are buying you. They're buying a piece of you. They are buying your personality. They engage with you. They want to support you. And so they're willing to give money for that. That's the power of creating that platform. That's the reality of this whole thing. It's amazing to watch. Like I said, I am not, and I don't want to get into it where I am enjoying all of this, but there's some amazing pieces to watch from a human watching standpoint. But let's understand, at the end of the day, these are still human beings, and one of them at least is really experiencing, a very private part of her life being broadcast to the world, and I don't know where it goes from there. Hopefully they can find some reconciliation, and they can move on. But my inner caseworker is telling me that this is one of those relationships that is kind of a pit, and she's kind of trapped in there. The unfortunate side of this is he's not hurt by this at all, and I think people need to realize this. He hasn't damaged his reputation. Well, he's damaged his reputation, but he hasn't hurt his pockets. It's not slowing down his traffic. He's got more traffic than he's ever had before. His name is known with people who didn't even know who the hell he was. People that didn't really know him. I didn't even know him by name. I saw, that dude, that dude I haven't seen him in a couple of years. Oh, he's still around. That's what my level of engagement with this dude was. But with all this other stuff, he's gotten so much attention that, he's probably doing numbers that he never did before. People aren't walking away from this dude. And it looks like he's doing everything to position himself to take full advantage of everything that's coming towards him. Like I said, even, Kev on Stage latched onto it. Somebody posted, I can't remember who posted Kev on Stage video, but I saw Kev on Stage talking about it. And so now he's doing even more numbers based on that, because now he is exposed to all of Kev on Stage's fans. And here's the wild part about it. And this is what the beauty of making a platform is. You create a platform, you have people share, you have other people who have their own platform share your content, and now you're exposed to their audience too. So now they come over to you. So you're literally leveraging their work and building out your platform, basically. So there's all kinds of people who Kev on Stage follows that are going to follow this dude, that are going to give this dude views. They're going to view his content. They may write jokes about it. They may, make reaction videos to it. But at the end of the day, it's still driving views to his page. And so he ain't hurt by this in the least. We got to let go of this concept of, publicly humiliating somebody is the same thing and has the same power as deplatforming them. And I've had this conversation with people before. Deplatforming is a lot different than publicly shaming. When you deplatform somebody, you're literally taking away their ability to reach their audience. That's a very powerful thing. If you want to know how powerful deplatforming can be, look at what's happened to the former president. They took away his single biggest platform, and dude has been working his ass off to find another route, another platform that he can use. But at the end of the day, he's not going to find anything that was matching what he was doing on Twitter. It's just not going to happen. That's why we talk about, when we talk about bigots, we talk about Nazis, we talk about these people out here who are espousing hate and violence towards other groups or whatnot. Publicly humiliating them, getting a snarky comment in that goes viral, that doesn't really do anything for them, because at the end of the day, a propagandist doesn't really care that they've been humiliated. They don't care that they've been embarrassed. It's only about reaching a broader audience. That's all propagandists care about. That's one of the things when you watch, Real Time with Bill Maher, and he has some reform neo-Nazi on the panel. And Bill Maher's, doing his snarky, kind of racist, rich dude stuff. And people are like, oh, he's embarrassing him. He's not. This dude doesn't care that he's getting embarrassed. They don't. Milo, Steve Bannon, those guys don't care that Bill Maher is making them look goofy in front of his audience, because they could never reach as broad of an audience. And so they don't care if what they say gets discredited. They just want it heard. And that's kind of what this dude is about. Derrick Jaxn is more or less, I would imagine, doesn't really care about how people are responding to what he's saying. He just cares that people are sharing his content. That's the bottom line. The propagandist does not care about whether they get insulted, embarrassed, or anything. They are immune to some of these human responses to being embarrassed. Most of us would be humiliated if we were on national television and somebody contradicted something we said, or outright called us a liar to our face, and was able to provide the receipts to prove it. But a propagandist doesn't care, because it doesn't matter to them. At the end of the day, it's about reaching their audience, and they've reached their audience, and that's what he's doing. So watch this thing, watch how this unfolds, and start thinking about how you can apply this to your own platforms and your own social media and your own content strategy. How can you find your audience and be so attuned with every segment of your audience that you know that you can never scare them off, because they are part of you. They are tuned into you. They're invested in you as a human being. That's the most powerful part of this. And so maybe that's the big takeaway of all this. Find your audience and find your voice, and find the people that react to who you are in real life, or who you are, or react to the character that you're creating for your social media, which I wouldn't advise. But find the people that resonate and connect with you, and you should be able to leverage that to some tremendous outcomes in your life. So thanks for listening to me. I just had a little bit of a rambling, kind of a rambling thing, but I do want to put that out there, that this dude is, I got comments. Yeah. All right. Yeah. He's going to blow up off this. Right. Melvin is exactly right. He's going to blow up all this. This is huge. This is his big stage moment, and he's going to take every advantage of it. He doesn't mind being memed. They can meme him all he wants. He don't care. He's going to be able to flip this into something major. And like I said, he's doing more numbers than he's never done before, which is pretty amazing when you look at all this. Yeah. Jaxn, here's the thing. Jaxn is Jaxn is his setup isn't as complex as Trump's. Trump actually had a lot of social media strategists and right-wing propagandists in his circle, and so they know how to leverage these outrageous messages and find an audience for it. So it's not as complex, but dude's gonna have some. He's gonna get some shine. He's gonna get a lot of shine off of this. He's probably doing better business he's ever done before. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the book to drop, because when the book drops, we're going to see something else very public. Maybe he'll stage another getting caught cheating, or he'll do something else outrageous to kind of inflate the sales of whatever book he has coming. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter. For him, it doesn't matter. The negative press don't really make much of a difference to dude. He doesn't care, because it's still press. It's still press. And I guess the big thing about it is, tell us how to wild on the net without wild on the net. I guess a lot of it is when let's look at who we're attracted to on the social media. let's look at who we're attracted to in social media. I look at who my kids follow on Twitter, and there's always some talking head making a bunch of weird sounds, or overreacting to videos of people falling down, and they're drawn to those big, huge personalities. And I don't know if these personalities are truly who these people are. I doubt that these people are turned up like that. But that's how you wild out on the internet without wilding out on the internet. You find a piece of your personality and you turn it up to 20, and hopefully people who have the same personality or find you interesting will tune into you. But yeah, my kids will sit there and find, they'll bombard myself and their mom with all kinds of videos from some talking head watching somebody fall down a flight of stairs and acting like it is the most incredible or amazing thing, like they've never seen anybody fall down a flight of stairs before, or somebody mispronounce a word or misunderstand something. I don't even know how some of this stuff passes as entertainment, but the kids are really connected to this. And I'm noticing a trend with all these YouTubers that are big, especially the ones that started out as gaming streamers. And I think, because I'm even told my son, hey, turn that dude off. I don't want to hear him. I don't want you to listen to this dude because all he does is scream and yell. While he's playing the game, he's yelling and screaming like it's the most terrifying thing ever. Like he'll play some scary game and this dude is screaming like some scream queen off of the old sci-fi network series. And I'm like, turn that dude off. I can't deal with it. But that is part of what's brought him in. I remember having it out when they were little about that entire FGTV family. The FGTV family almost got banished in our house because I could not deal with the dad who is the same age I am, woefully misappropriating slang and trying to be the cool dad and screaming and yelling. And it just got to the point where it was an assault on our eardrums around here. We got to the point where we almost banned FGTV in the house. And if you know who I'm talking about, y'all know who I'm talking about. But the FGTV dude he was too extra for us in this house, and my kids loved him. They watched every piece of content they ever created. And I think a lot of it had to do with the streamers. The way they get audience members and stuff. And I'm about to take a dive into Twitch. I don't think anybody wants to see me play Overwatch badly, but I might have to dive into it just to kind of play around the platform and see. Nobody's trying to watch me get killed up in Apex Legends or Overwatch, but I'm gonna have to test it out. Maybe I'll even build a brand about I'm a dad who sucks at gaming. I don't know how that works, but I may have to jump into that. But the Twitch streamers are way over the top. And I think that's part of their brand building. I know there's a YouTuber I follow who just reacts to other Twitch streamers, and he's posted stuff about what they do. I know there's one girl that she does a hot tub video game session on Saturdays, and we know what that's all about. We know what viewership she's trying to draw in, but it's her audience. That's who she works with, so they want to tune in and see this girl playing video games in a bikini. They don't really care about the game. They're tuning in to see her. But the Twitch streamers have kind of developed this thing for being way over the top and having a wild out production value. Yeah, I may have to come out, retire my Call of Duty. Do it, man. A lot of these streamers get on there and I'm watching them and I even see them pop up and it's like, man, this dude is amazing on this game. My hands couldn't even do all that, but there's got to be a market for people who aren't good at games because not everybody can be, I know at Overwatch is top 500 or a grandmaster. I don't know what it is in Call of Duty, but not everyone can be in the top 1,000 players in the world. There's got to, matter of fact, most people are bad to average in these games. So there's got to be a market for people who want to watch other people who suck at games. There's just got to be, there's got to be someone who wants to watch me get beat by 20 points by the computer on 2K. There's got to be a market for that. Anyway, but it's that way over the top thing. And I think that's how you wow out on the internet without completely destroying your interpersonal life. You just crank it up to 11, find something that's engaging about your personality and crank it up to 11, or find something that's irritating. Because I guarantee you the people in the FGTV house get sick of this dude yelling and using slang poorly. And so maybe that's the part that he puts out to the universe. He can't turn it up at home all the time because it'll drive his wife out of the door, but he can turn it up online. And since, the people online have kind of associated him with all that, that's what they tune in for. And they think it's funny. I don't know. So I would think that's how you wow out, to be honest with you. But I would be down to start doing some streaming. I guess I got to find a game that I'm halfway good at. The problem is I'm not consistent enough, and I don't really like playing online because I don't like being called the N-word by some 13-year-old somewhere. So I don't really put my headphones on to get into the chats, and so that seems to be part of it. You got to be in the chats, and you got to find your little crew that's gonna game with you. So I might jump on the Twitch stream later on at some point in the future and make that a long boxing while black kind of thing. But anyway, I've gone on a lot of different tangents. The bottom line is if you control your platform, you control the rules of that platform. And if you have your audience figured out, you can pretty much put any kind of message in front of them. And I'm not saying you can just be completely immoral and destroy all your interpersonal relationships, but you do have some leverage to screw up and your audience will still ride with you. Um, that's all I got, y'all. I appreciate your time. Like, share this. If this is on YouTube, if you're seeing this on YouTube, give me a like on YouTube. I would deeply appreciate it. It helps me grow the channel, helps me reach more people, helps me continue to understand what kind of content that connects with my audience. If you're on Facebook, share this to whoever you think might connect to it. And I would love to have them on the page. That's all I got. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.